Okay, so here we are back at looking at the original. Now this kind of scuff mark and stuff we aren't going to put in right now. This reflection stuff, there's going to be, you'll see once we get everything in, even to the point where I've got most of the stuff in. I did close off the back wall. I'm kind of not liking it, so I'm probably going to extend it out for the final and we go over that. But I just want you to get a feeling what you're doing and how this all comes together. So if I open up that, there you go. So this is the empty hall. I don't have any of the detail stuff that you guys have all built, but this is the empty hall. That's the texture that I built a few seconds ago. You can see it's a little bit more red. Now, what we could be looking at, honestly, is a filter over the camera to really dull it down, because there's some really blurry stuff going on and there's motion blur and stuff. But I probably will end up going back in after I get done with this video and downplay this texture. Really, the lighting's not even there, to tell you the truth. It's just thrown in. I have one light right here. I have a light at the end of the hall, and this is the reason I don't like it, because I'm missing this. And then I have another light in here just right now because I don't have enough to bounce around, and it got really dark down there. And that's actually, I actually think it's still too bright. So let me go and mess with this, and you can watch the, let's do that. It'll probably re-render. Yeah. But I mean, this is pretty close to the right. I mean, the wrong color. Sure, there's some blues and stuff inside of here, and we can play with that once we get to it. But I just want you to understand that everything we're doing works. Okay, it's not perfect, but this is really fast turnaround. You all have built a wall, all the walls, all the pieces is all modular. It's all separate pieces, and now we're going to do the texture on this wall, and there's some key points I want to talk about that today. So let's go look at the max file. So I'm going to hide selection here. I'm going to pull up the wall. Okay, so I have this wall, and one of the big differences is this stupid molding that I did. I did it so fast, and I think I did it during the lecture, and it was, it's okay. But the big thing I want to point out is if we look at this, the unwrap is fine, and we can look at it in a second. But if we look at this, and we look at the select ID, this is ID 1 and this is ID 2. If I say select ID 2, you see it's both these pieces. Now you could even split it even more. Suppose you want the ground ones to be a little bit dirtier or something, just default dirtier, not the overlay dirtier we're going to talk about. Then, you can do that. But for now, I'm just going to do 2. And it's really important you understand why we're doing this too. So when I export this, and then I open it up inside of Substance, you may have seen this before. Let me, you can see that there's 2. There's a molding and the wall base. And where do those names come from? And why is there 2? Well, because there's 2 textures, right? And don't worry about the order they're in. They don't match always. Whatever the order they want to number them in the game or in here, it really doesn't matter. But I'm going to go back to Max real quick and show you where those names came from. And if I open up the material editor, you'll see there is molding and wall base. So when you name your materials and the same names as you name your objects, which is I recommend, or at least in most cases. I could have probably said wall base molding, but I want to keep it molding generic enough, and you'll understand in a few minutes. But it brings them in separately as separate things. Now when you export these textures, you're actually going to be exporting 2 sets of textures. So if I look at the materials in there, you'll see in a second. So this isn't always the best way to do it, but there's a reason I'm doing it this way, and I'll explain it to you in a few minutes. But first, let's get into the texturing part. Now, what I did is I went on to Substance Source, and again, this isn't meant to make you guys the masterpieces of all times. I mean, this is your first 3D class. You're building an environment, so I don't mind us taking some stuff. As you get further and further into building these environment pieces, you're going to understand how much work it takes. There's enough work with just taking some of these textures and tweaking them from pre-made sources that I don't feel like you have to do every stinking part of it. So if I delete this real quick, so what I did is I went to Substance Source and I went to the home decoration area, and there's actually different versions, and I found a few of these textures in here. And the ones I picked were, and I didn't know which ones I wanted, so like I said, I have a ton. I picked a few of them from in here, and I picked these ones that are called, let me open the Windows folder here. Yule Marble, Painted, Wallpaper. I picked all of these because I wasn't sure which ones I was going to use. I needed to be able to throw them on here and see. What I ended up using was, as you can tell, this one right here, Painted Plaster. So let me show you what that looks like so you can be surprised that I used it. I look at this and I say, okay, how is this going to work? So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one here so I have no textures. And I take this painted plaster and throw it up on the wall here. And whatever one I throw it onto is what it's going to stick to. So this is painted plaster stuck on there. Now if I want to put it on the ground, on these floorboards, which I will, I'm going to put it there. Why would I put it on the floorboards? No worry, I'll show you in a second here. Let me just turn it off so we don't get distracted. And then I think, yeah, if you want, I'm pretty sure the shortcut. So it's Control Alt and click, and it'll change to whichever one. So you don't have to bring this up every time. Control Alt and click. It'll jump between whichever ones you want. Okay, so we're going to work on this one first. Now, the first thing you'll notice is it has this big blue color. We don't want that. That's fine. We can fix it. All we have to do is right click or click on the color that's listed in the texture and change it. And I was looking at the texture inside the picture or in the video, and it's got a little bit more yellows in it. It's not really heavy yellow. It's not this nice chiffon yellow. It may actually be, because I assume when they built the house they didn't say, I'm going to make a really ugly yellow, but we're going to pretend that they did. And just come to our yellows here. I get something kind of like that. And if you don't remember, shift and right click will move the camera around so you get your lighting. Okay, so I threw it in there. And this is the default setup. I'm not sure if I like this yellow. I'm going to keep the one that I already have. But I'm going to come in here. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Maybe. Anyway, and I'm going to look at these settings. I don't know what these settings are. I didn't make this material, so I have to play around with them. So that's fine. That's what you're expected to do. And this is kind of, you know, once you use this 4 times or 2 times, you'll probably go, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go in there and do the same thing. But the first thing you're going to see is the roughness, the stroke, all this other stuff. Really, the only thing I care about when I was looking at this, and it's interesting when I look at this texture, it's got some really reflective parts to it. See how it's reflecting here and here? And it seems flatter over here. I think that's just because the light's not right on top of it and we're in a different era, because it's also not, it's a little reflective over here. So I think that's just the way the lighting is. So I'm going to come back out. And the guy could have tricked us. Don't forget, you can fake it. You can go ahead and make one side of the wall flat just to bring that feeling back. Anyway, so I'm going to go roughness, and I'm going to see where I can do, and I probably need to move my light around. Okay, how high I can make it to make it reflective. And it may be too bright. So I'm going to take this brush, I'm going to take all these to 0, and actually I'm going to do one more thing. When I was messing with it earlier, I changed the resolution. It's easier to work at a lower resolution, and then you can always turn it back up and you get more detail back. But if I turn this, I should start to see a little bit more, there it is, reflectivity if I go lower. So I don't want it that reflective, but I definitely want to feel like it's getting some reflectivity off the wall, the lighting and stuff. And that's probably not enough yet, so I'll go back a little bit more. And there we go. So now I've got this roughness, which is where the reflectivity comes from, because the more porous the object is, the less rough it is, and therefore the more reflective it is. Okay, minus the pictures. So I'm going to not even worry about this brush stuff. I'm not even going to need it. I'm sure there's some great uses for it, but we don't need it. So I'm going to come to this brush width and all this stuff. I'm going to ignore it. So next thing I'm going to look for, and this is what you'll find in most, or if not all, materials, is this technical parameters. And this is where we're going to come in here and go, this is a little bit much pockmarkiness for our wall, in my opinion. So, and you can change yours, but I really think what you need to shoot for is subtlety. So I'm going to turn the height range down until we get to something that's got pock marks and stuff like that. Now, what threw me for a second is this stuff. This is what I thought this was, but this is actually this surface damage thing. So I'm going to come to the surface damage and pull that back. I don't really want much surface damage. I don't want much peel amount either. I can leave a little bit on there, but remember, if I have it on one, it's going to be on the exact same spot on everyone. So it's kind of something you need to, do very slightly if you're going to do it, just because this pattern is going to be recognizable. It could be recognizable across several surfaces. So I'll change my height range and I'll pull it back a little bit. I'll maybe change position. I can move them a little bit and stuff if I want. you know, that's it. Normal intensity does a little bit in this case. He must have used a normal mapping system. And actually, I think I went too low, so I'm going to push this out a little bit more just to get something. I want to get some highlights. I'm going to pull this back a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So that's that. And I probably should give it some more yellow again. Like this. This chiffon yellow. Okay. I'm actually going to pull that peel amount back even more. And the surface damage down a bit too. Because it's got the pockmarky stuff without all the surface damage and stuff. Okay. Another thing I did think you can mess with is, let me see, there's a little bit of scratchy stuff inside of here. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but that's fine, whatever. So that's the first one, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to Control C, and back to what I should do real quick is call this wall. Okay. And what I was looking for was a nice, you know, reflective quality for this, but still kind of chunky, because if we look at the picture, it's still kind of chunky enough. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to use this one. Let me check one more thing. Oh, yeah. The other big thing is I changed this to like 3. I think. Maybe 5. 3's good. Substance, you crazy monkey. Okay. You want to keep it in numbers, though. You don't want to go points when you're doing these tiling textures. That way you know that 3 versions of this texture is on the same wall, and that way the next one will also meet at the same exact spot. Okay. So I'm going to go over to Control-Alt and right-click on this, and then I get this painted plaster for my molding. So I'll type in molding. And I'll turn this up. And this one, like I said, I'm not expecting you guys to do everything from scratch at this point. This is just to get you into an engine. So here it is. I'm going to turn that surface damages down. I'm going to turn the peel amount down. I'm going to open up the technical press and turn down this bump quite a bit more on this, because I really don't want that. I just want some breakup. I'm going to take this and make it almost white. I don't want to make it white because white looks too pristine and just by default. And then I'm going to take this roughness and put it pretty high. So I got this wall. And that's it. That's what I did. Now, you aren't going to be able to get away with this with every game you ever make or anything like that. But, you know, for you to get in here and be able to make that texture that fast is what we're looking at. So, next thing is I'll export it out. And when I export it out, what happens, go back to Unity up here, move this out of the way here, we get what's inside of here. So let me go inside of here, and on the next video I'll show you how to fix it.